Greetings, rise and shine, brethren. We are the World Global Reset Restoration Network family, comprised of 198 sovereign nations with over 7 billion sovereign principles, being of one mind, one heart, and one spirit, walking together under the divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I come to you as a voice in the wilderness to introduce to you a man. No, not just any man, but a man sent by Yah Allah to redeem mankind. Dr. I.L. Henderson, the Adak Chief Justice of the Universal World Court, and who's also known as Yehoshua Mashiach, the Son of Man. The information that you will be receiving in this and other videos you won't get from anywhere else on the planet. Hear the many truths and fulfillment of the laws, judgments, and sentencings from our Creator, Father Yah, as well as the fulfillment of the true interpretation of the Holy Scriptures and books. Now, without further ado, Dr. I.L. Henderson with his beloved host, Shelley Bowling.
My American brothers and sisters, we've been talking about the opportunists. Some of those opportunists are so proud of the work that they have done as an opportunist that they brag about it. Right to your face. Just come right out and say it. That, yeah, we're here for our own self-promotion. We're not here for you. We may give you throw you a few bones as if we're throwing bones to a dog, so you might think that we're here for you, but that's not why we're here for you. One of those people, some of you may know personally, some of you may know at least about, and that's Rahm Emanuel. Some of you had it as your former mayor there in Chicago. He also was at one time a Democratic congressman from Illinois. And those of you may remember he served as chief of staff to Barack Obama. Rahm Emanuel came out just in the last couple of months saying what he said for a long time. Never allow a good crisis to go to waste. It's an opportunity to do the things you once thought were impossible. In other words, while the people are frantic about something, let's run in the middle of it and see if we can't manipulate them for our benefit. Then he goes on to talk about how they bailed out, he and Barack Obama bailed out the banks and the auto industry. Those of you that have been on these calls, you heard us talk about it from the opposite side of the coin. Mr. Emanuel said our bailouts came with strings attached. Yeah, buddy, they sure did. That's because the strings they were attached to was the Global Restoration Fund that Dr. Henderson and the Global Network put together, which is why we now have the master sequester that's been in place since October of 2013. So now you understand a little bit more about the stimulus and why Dr. Henderson is saying you've got to pay the people back. Mr. Emanuel went on to say a few more things, and he was talking about the coronavirus. He said we need to leverage this challenge to ensure that the United States is poised to defeat the next virus and the one after that and still win globally for the next several decades. In other words, family, their focus has not changed at all. As part of the deep state within the U.S., and yes, there are those that have left political office that are still part of that same deep state. They're still trying to say that America is great. Greatest nation on the planet. Yet and all just manipulating the systems that they've had set in place for decades now, for centuries now. And they're still pushing for global control. Not going to happen. Father Yah and his son have already said that is at an end and will not happen.
I do hear you mentioning to the people about how Ron Emanuel, if we might call him that, is now beginning to finally speak out about what took place during his time in the White House. His time in the White House hasn't actually ended, because just as it was then, he and his would-be crew were not in charge of anything. And as they came in and looted the would-be U.S. of A. as a nation, looted, ripping and tearing those things while the whole nation was going through nothing more than a protest. They themselves were looting the would-be nation. Now that we know that all those things have taken place, and I know you're trying to convince the people, but I can assure you that the majority of the people that we're speaking to now, this is the U.S. of A. call, they don't believe it. They think by some chance they got their would-be money from some UCC. They think by some chance they got it from some IRS. They think by some chance someone somewhere found a goose who lays golden eggs. Let me help them out. It's not happen, not going to happen, because there's a greater plan in which we have. Emmanuel, let me help you out. I don't know what world you come from. I don't know what world you're planning on being in, but if you stay in this one, you're going to get it right too. You're going to go back and tell your friend, you're going to go back and tell your half black and half white friends that y'all need to get it together. Because until you pay that debt in which you so-called paid off the banks and paid off the auto industry, tell them they better have that money. Tell them, Brianna, she can tell them better than I can. Tell them to call her up. They like pretty women who would be multi-ethnical backgrounds. These ethnical backgrounds in which they love, she probably fits that role for them. They don't want to talk to just any average person. They like exotic things. I say at best she can tell them better than I can, because I have to show some respect to her in that manner, because she knows that at the end of the day they better have that money. They better pay those bills, and they better make sure that when they get those bills paid, that they have a record of showing that they paid those bills. Or better yet, no records, no proof. They're going to be paying all over again. United States of America, you just go right ahead. You keep believing all the things that you're seeing on your network television. You keep believing that Mr. Kramer is the one that's telling them just how the economic and economic system is going to fail if they don't do this or do that, if they don't invest in this or invest in that. But I need him to tell them the truth. There is no investment. There's no trade. There's no import. There's no export. Matter of fact, there's no life unless they bow their knees, recognize that he is who he say he is, and that the things in which he is bringing to the world will be the new change. Until they do that, they must recognize the fact that they will get nothing and they will go nowhere. Yes, I know. Most of you are just sitting around again, I say, just waiting for another check, a stimulus check. You're waiting to be stimulated once again by some money that you believe is coming from the American government. Well, you believe that this is free money, money that you don't have to work for, money that you don't have to do anything for. You just believe that they're going to pluck it out of the sky and give it to you. Yes, I know. Let me help you out. Right now, we're in the process of figuring out how much stimulus pay should you receive. Yes, I know. They want to agree with us right now that you at least deserve another $1,200 check per individual. 500 perhaps, maybe 6, if you have a small child in the house. Or should we just call them children? But you have to realize that this is not free money. Do you understand that many of you have been working for no more than $5 an hour? Most of you have found yourself being given a raise where you have been able to get up to at least $10 an hour, double the 5. Some of you have been able to climb to at least $25 an hour. But let me help you out. The hourly pay in which one should now already be worked is way over what any amount that they will give you for 1 hour of work. They're working you from birth to death. That's your requirement. You're to work from birth to death. Let me help you out. Every second, every minute, every hour counts. Your work. And if you believe that $5 or $10 or perhaps even $25 is your work for 8 hours a day, you go right ahead. And you believe that they're giving you some money that they plucked out of the sky and giving it to you free, when they're actually working you from birth to death. Let me help you out. Your hourly wages right now, being that we give it a percentage, or being that we give it an estimate, you should at least be making $50,000 an hour. $50,000 an hour. Oh, wow. Sounds like a fairy tale or a dream, or perhaps maybe something that you would love to do, if only if you knew how and what you had to do it, what you had to do to qualify for it. Let me help you out. You didn't have to do anything to qualify for it because you were born into it. It's part of your inheritance of the universe. Right now, one is worth $1 billion standing still. That's straight out of the chute, one would say. That's out of the birth canal. He is worth $1 billion. And thereafter, he gains value. He don't lose value. He gains value. It's like being put on an auction block. A lot of you cannot relate to that. I do know that some of our grandmothers and grandfathers that are still around can still relate to being watching those that were put on an auction block, and perhaps even some of them may have found themselves on an auction block, where they would have heard one screaming and yelling valuable numbers of trying to see who was going to purchase them for their work, for how much they were worth. And even though many of them were being branded with a brand by those who would have been purchasing them, not for a price, but for their worth, for how much they were worth. So many of them would stand at the auction. I'm talking about the unrighteous, the Caucasoid, and the European race. Stop it. Just be honest with yourself. You have to understand this is not just history, it's truth. So stay with me for a moment. They were yelling and screaming out numbers, not because they were going to spend that amount of numbers. It's because that was the worth they believed that individual was worth. And they were willing to work him from birth to death based upon that particular number in which they would have screamed out. Many of them was only given $100. I'll give 100 for him. I'll give 50. Believe it or not, some even went as cheap as 10 cents for an individual because they believed that he wasn't worth but 10 cents. And that's the reason a lot of times you hear them making the statement, he's not worth a quarter. Because there was very few times that anyone was able to find anything more than 25 cents for one huge, big, strong black man. Muster like a stud, they would call it. And they would want to give no more than 25 cents. And it's only that the bid would become so fierce and so competitive until he could find himself going for $100. Can you imagine? $100 in less than a few minutes of yelling and shouting. And you believe that you're getting paid by the hour. $25 is a lot of money. Stay with me. I'm just educating you to the truth of what's taking place, that their government right now is sitting down and they're reading all the documents that I type up and that I write, that I give to them. And they're reading this and they're trying to see how can they calculate what I'm saying without interfering with what I'm doing, and at the same time show some honor and respect to you in which I am demanding. Stay with me. Let me help you out again. You keep hearing me use the word opportunist, and pretty soon you're going to hear them speak a lot about the word opportunist, because all of them are opportunists. Each one of them. They're only trying to gain advantage by the circumstances in which you're going through and that you're under. The majority of your circumstances is where many of you are unemployed, as you would believe. Many of you are not worth a quarter, as you would believe. Many of you believe that $25 an hour is your worth of work from birth to death. Stay with me. United States, this is what really has to be a part of your life of study, because you don't want to miss it. You don't want to really get any type of teaching, and you want to do all the teaching. You want everyone to listen to you. You want everyone to believe that you're so smart and you're so intelligent until you yourself haven't figured out the basic things of how they have slipped you nothing more than a Mickey and a drink in what you drink that you call a dream drink. And you can't wake up from it. $2.2 trillion is not going to solve your problem. I told you that before. Your omnibus bills, your coronavirus relief plan, any of those things that you come up with where you put a dollar sign on them, is not going to be your remedy. I need you to understand that. So if you want to keep borrowing money, we have it. Come get it. But I guarantee you, with all the money in which you are borrowing, right now they tell you it will take you at least $7 trillion to be able to rebuild the whole universe, or what you deem to be the free world. Let me help you out. The free world is worth more than $7 trillion right now. It is. It's worth more than that. Let's try $900 trillion and counting. So if you want it, borrow it. You're going to owe it, and you have no way of paying it. And right now, you're running out of workers to even say that you will be able to have credibility to pay it back, because you will pay it back based upon the workers of your nation, or those that you deem to be workers that will be able to at least draw what is known as taxes. And you will draw taxes from them. And then you will pay them only a measly would-be few pennies of it back, while using the rest of it to pay off your debt. But that you're running out of now. And now you want the elder people to go back to work, knowing that you say that they're the ones that's most likely to die based upon this coronavirus. You want them to go back to work, so you can at least be able to draw those things in which they will have a benefit of, like getting old. I know. Now that you're running out enough money to pay them Social Security, now that you're running out of money to be able to pay them workers' comp, or that pay in which you would be giving them that you would classify as welfare, or that in which you would classify to be their money in which you would give them from all the years they would have worked, retirement pay. Now that you're running out of all of these avenues of being able to pay them back for their hard work, now you're willing to allow them to go back to work, knowing that you have told them that they are the ones that is more in a position to be dead by coronavirus than any other would-be race or any other would-be age group. You want them to go back to work so they can fix the economy. I dare you. Manipulators to the point where you believe that you can still manipulate the people to a point of giving them false truth, lies. In 1999, when the world court recognized and the international courts recognized that you were nothing more than a thief, and you were ordered to return to the people based upon knowing that it was the wealth of the people, it was the world's trust that you were to return it. And even though we even were the ones that provided you that which would have been classified as the currency to do so, you did nothing more than taking that currency and you bailed out all of your so-called would-be industries, in which now you're asking for more money to keep them in order, or to keep them in some so-called order that the people might be able to keep going to work for them. You bailed out all of your banking systems. Those in whom you deemed needed enough cash to keep themselves open so they would not become those nations or those banks that would have had to at least be able to do something that they would be classifying as filing bankruptcy. And you kept them open with that, through your demonic demon from the United States of America, whom you deemed or dubbed to be the 44th so-called man in whom you could put your trust in. First of all, they're asking for a $2 trillion would-be coronavirus package to be able to bail out the people. And I'm asking them just in honesty, how truthful are they, and how many of the people do they plan on bailing out? The president hasn't signed it yet, but I'm sure he will. But he is going to have to come to a point of at least being able to convince me that what he's going to do is going to be honest, it's going to be fair, and everyone is going to receive it. Let me help you out. A few years ago, 2005. Oh, that's not a few years ago. Okay, I understand. He promised, the president, that he was going to let the people go. He asked for an omnibus bill. Can anyone tell me what was the amount? What was the price that he put on the omnibus bill that he said he was going to take care of the people? Let me help you out. He told me $1 trillion and he could do it. So we gave him a $1.1 trillion omnibus bill, an omnibus bill. And yet still the people have been in more suffering since that moment than they ever been before. Fast forward. 2008, they asked for another omnibus bill. Once again, we gave them a $1.2 trillion omnibus bill. And still the people are still now oppressed, suffering. Medically, they're at a point where no one has coverage. And they wanted to talk about the Obamacare, which doesn't work for anybody. And especially right now, if anyone is relying on the Obamacare to be able to get you through the coronavirus, known as COVID-19, COVID-19, known by its would-be mysterious name of secrecy. You want to know now what your government is asking for? They're asking now for a $2 trillion bailout plan for the people. $2 trillion. And they're asking me to give them a $2 trillion omnibus bill to bail out the people of a virus that they have no cure. No vaccine. But let me help you out, because right now it's not just America that's asking for a $2 trillion bailout for the coronavirus, or COVID, or the COVID-19. But every nation on the planet is asking for the exact same, or even for a higher amount. To bail out my people. My people. Those who are called by my name. They want to bail them out now in reference to the virus.